This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Spoiler alert. While millions of fans around the world eagerly await the NFL season, we got our first glimpse this past Thursday with the Carolina Panthers versus the Denver Broncos. I have some interesting news to relay to you. The NFL season already took place. All 16 regular season games, wild card round, divisional round, everything, the Super Bowl, it's all happened. I know you don't believe me. This sounds weird, but I've come across some very interesting information. The NFL season actually took place inside of a studio in California, Hollywood, if you will. Every game simulated actually happened. It took place, and it will be released on tape this year. I know it's weird. How did I come up with this information? How did I receive these VHS tapes, hundreds of them, with all the games? Well, I can't give you the details, but what I will do for you now is give you the results right here. I have in my possession the entire NFL season. Yes, of course, this did not happen, but what I do have for you are predictions so spot on, you will feel as though I've already seen the entire season. Yes, it's the NFL preview edition along with the Detroit Lions season preview edition right here on the Hindsight 20. Mallory here for the Hindsight 20 podcast. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening. Listen up, guys. We all have been waiting for this moment, okay? After the Super Bowl, there's things going on. You've got the draft and you've got free agency. All that's fine and dandy. But the moment us NFL and Detroit Lions fans have all been waiting for is here. The beginning of the NFL season. We got that glimpse. We got that taste. Pretty good game, if I must say so myself, between the Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos. Freezing the kicker works. Denver wins. Trevor Siemian doing his thing and CJ Anderson looking amazing. But what we're really looking forward to is tomorrow, right? We're going to certainly be talking about that game. We're going to predict every Lions game for 2016. We have all the pertinent information for the NFL season coming right at you. I'm not going to waste any more time. We're going to get right into it. We'll start off with the NFL. We'll end with the rest of our passion. You see, maybe our passion is like 30% NFL, and the rest of that 70% goes to our beloved Detroit Lions. Without any further delay, let's hand out some awards for this 2016 NFL season. Starting off at the top, I reluctantly am predicting, and will be correct, just wait and see, that the most valuable player in the NFL is Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers. Listen, guys, I don't have any pleasure in saying this, but I've been saying this for about 5 years, and I don't think anything has really changed. He had a down year last year. His big target, Jordy Nelson, wasn't there, yada, yada, yada. But this saying, I still stand firm behind. Aaron Rodgers is not only the best quarterback in the NFL, he has been for the past 5 years, and he is the best player, the best football player. If I'm ranking the NFL, Aaron Rodgers is number one. It's no question. Okay, he is the best quarterback. And in my opinion, he's going to go down as one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I don't like saying this, but I have to, as someone giving you, predictions and giving you my honest opinion, he's the best on the planet. And things will work out for him this year. It'll be a bit of a comeback. Jordy Nelson's health. Devontae Adams may be, improving a little bit from a down year. Randall Cobb. Eddie Lacy, is he fat? Is he skinny? They say he's skinny. He still looks fat to me. All in all, though, Aaron Rodgers is walking away with the hardware. Listen, the quarterback is the position, all right? 9 times out of 10, it seems like that's the guy that gets the hardware. Although there will be some very big seasons from guys like Adrian Peterson and Russell Wilson. Julio Jones is going to probably smash a couple of records. I'm looking at you, Mr. Calvin Johnson. Those guys will be deserving, but the combination of Aaron Rodgers' team success and being the best quarterback, it's almost like the best quarterback of the year award, you would think in a lot of times. But hey, it's the most important position in the game, and so the best at that position is always considered year in and year out. doesn't always work correlation-wise to Offensive Player of the Year. And in this case, the Offensive Player of the Year is not Aaron Rodgers. Instead, it goes to the LA. I still got to get used to saying that. It goes to the LA Rams phenom, Tavon Austin. Okay, of course not. If it's the LA Rams, it's Todd Gurley. This guy is special. You know, there's only so many running backs that come out that I look at, and I've been wrong about a few of them. I thought Darren McFadden was special, that I look at and say, you know, they're one of a kind. Adrian Peterson was one of them. I thought Darren McFadden was. Todd Gurley is that. The skill set, the speed, the power. Jeff Fisher has made no bones about it. Okay, he's going to use Todd Gurley. He's going to be their bell cow. He's going to be their feature. And I think he has his eyes set on 2,000 yards. He won't quite get it. He'll come close. He's one of the best in the business. Hopefully another year removed from ACL. He doesn't have a setback, but he keeps recovering. And he's the guy. He's the guy that's going to do it. Todd Gurley getting that hardware, sniffing 2,000 yards. He'll be over 1,800, maybe even close to 1,900, and he'll find the end zone plenty of times. You can't stop this man. You'll try, and you won't be successful. Defensive Player of the Year, there's been a trend with this. A lot of guys that win Defensive Rookie of the Year go on to win that hardware Defensive Player of the Year, if not the first year, the year after. Khalil Mack is walking away with the award this year. He had a very good campaign last year with 15 sacks. The scheme is right there for him. And with this award again, sometimes the best defensive player is not always going to pop on the screen. If you got a shutdown corner, Darius Slay, if you got a dominant force of a defensive tackle, these guys don't always show up in the stats. The best cornerback in the league for a few years was Nnamdi Asomugha, and he would routinely have 2 interceptions or 3 where guys were getting much more than him. Well, people weren't throwing the ball to him. So he was that good to where, the guy he was covering was so covered that they didn't look his way. And when you don't have those eye-popping stats, the same could be for a dominant defensive player on the line who's a run stuffer. Maybe he's not getting sacks, but he's doing exactly what he has to do at a high level. And so there always will be guys that stand out. Your Darius Slays, dominant forces up the middle, Muhammad Wilkerson. But stats is king, and sacks are king. Okay, and Khalil Mack will lead the league in sacks this year. He'll be right up there. J.J. Watt doing his thing. Luke Kuechly is an animal, okay? He is a beast. We've seen this where, Kuechly was Defensive Rookie of the Year, then he won the whole thing. J.J. Watt, Defensive Rookie of the Year, then he did the whole thing. Khalil Mack, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like 99% sure he was Defensive Rookie of the Year. Didn't look it up, but if he wasn't, shame on the NFL and the establishment. Defensive Rookie of the Year, then win the whole thing. It's going to happen once again. He'll lead the league in sacks. I have some big aspirations for the Oakland Raiders, and he's going to be a key cog in that process. For Offensive Rookie of the Year, Ezekiel Elliott, how can you really look elsewhere? He's going to get all the carries if he stays healthy. Now, listen, Alfred Morris is going to get some love, guys. Don't just think that, Ezekiel Elliott is going to get all the carries. He'll get plenty. He'll be the main guy. But Alfred Morris will find the end zone a few times. He'll get 7 to 12 carries a game. He is a solid running back. And as long as that hamstring stays okay for Ezekiel Elliott, though, with that offensive line and his skill set, he will eclipse 1,000 yards. He will probably get in the end zone 8 times or so. Now, Derrick Henry is interesting. I don't think their talent level is that far apart. I honestly don't. They're pretty close. But Derrick Henry is a backup at the moment. He'll eventually take over DeMarco Murray's spot, but it's just the number of carries and the looks. I think you switch these 2 guys up. You put one on Dallas and one on Tennessee, and the results are almost flipped. I believe in Derrick Henry that much. He is a phenomenal player. The metrics are through the roof. But he won't get as much love as Ezekiel Elliott. He won't get as many carries, and he does not play behind an offensive line as talented. Dallas, we already know the big boys. We already know the Tyron Smiths and the Travis Fredericks and the Zach Martins, all right, the Leo Collins. These guys are monstrous. It reminds you of the 90s where the Dallas Cowboys had all those big boys getting in, doing what they did. Emmitt Smith, big beneficiary of that. You've got Dak Prescott for the first few games. He's looked good in the preseason, but he's still a rookie. I think they'll be relying on their running game, and Ezekiel Elliott's going to eat up all of those carries. He's going to eat and pounce on the NFL with a very successful rookie year, and he'll be walking away. He'll be walking away with the hardware. For Defensive Rookie of the Year, again, sacks is king. This rookie's going to lead all rookies in sacks. He's going to get double digits in his first year. He has the benefit of playing with Gerald McCoy, who is getting all the attention, and this guy's going to be able to roam free. He can line up as defensive end. He can stand up occasionally. He is Noah Spence from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All the talent in the world, and issues occurred at Ohio State. He ends up going to Eastern Kentucky. The talent's still there. It seems as though he's getting his head on right. All the reports are showing that some of the issues and things he went through are perhaps a thing of the past. Gerald McCoy mentoring him. He's looked really good. And like I said, when Gerald McCoy's getting two people thrown his way and another guy looking and people are concerned about him, the defensive ends benefit from that. They've tried time and time again to find that right mix. Adrian Claiborne and, this guy and that guy. Daquan Bowers, I believe. They've just never been able to really find that defensive end that they can hang their hat on and be confident in. Well, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers finally found it. This is a guy that I wanted the Detroit Lions to look at in the second round. It was not a viable option. Noah Spence is the real deal, guys, and we're going to see that. He's one of the best, if not the best, pure speed rusher in this year's draft. He'll walk away with 10 sacks, and he will get the hardware for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now, for your Coach of the Year, now Oakland is going to be a surprise team, man, and they just might be the one to get that look. But Bruce Arians, Arizona Cardinals, man, oh man, they are going to do some big things this year. Stay tuned for predictions. He's getting the hardware. I think they will walk away with the best record in the NFL this year. They'll lose, but it won't be that often. Maybe twice, maybe 3 times, perhaps even just once. And when a record is this dominant, even though that team in Oakland, I'm going to be talking about in a second, is going to make some waves and turn some heads and surprise some people, Bruce Arians is going to walk away with the award for the sheer dominance that his Arizona Cardinals exhibit this NFL season. Comeback Player of the Year, speaking of the Arizona Cardinals, is Tyrann Mathieu. Again, someone with plenty of issues, full of them in college. Phenomenal player. And he's just one of those guys. He can do everything. He's a safety. He's a slot corner. He's a playmaker. Undersized, crazy instinct, speed, athleticism, you name it, this guy can do it. Very disappointed to see him go down. He's one of my favorite players to watch. Very disappointed to see him go down last year. But this year it all comes together. He makes the Pro Bowl. He's an all-pro player. And he looks, as built, one of the best secondary players in the NFL. Congratulations. Now, the surprise team of the NFL will be the Oakland Raiders. I think they'll win 10 games this year. Maybe even 11. I really like the team. They're well coached. I love Derek Carr. I love Amari Cooper. Clive Walford. The offense is there. The offensive line is very underrated. It's a good line in my opinion. On defense, Khalil Mack doing his thing. This is a team that has shown glimpses. They had a nice little stretch last year of success, and it all comes together. They're very young, they're very talented, and they will be the surprise team of the NFL. Now, the biggest flop this year is the New England Patriots. And the flop for them is still 10-6, still winning the division, but they'll be a first-round exit. Tom Brady's first 4 games, Rob Gronkowski's hamstring. They're not going to start off red hot. As good as they have talent, it's not just Tom Brady, they will struggle. Those first 4 games, perhaps it'll be 2-2, and we got to monitor and see just what is going to happen with Rob Gronkowski. Hamstrings tend to linger all year, and so I think you have an improved Miami Dolphins team, an improved New York Jets team, and an improved Buffalo Bills team. All of those teams are much better, which means they're not just going to, run over the competition in their division this year. They're going to get some losses, perhaps even a few home losses at Foxborough, which is very rare for them against those teams. All of those teams are much improved, and so they'll get beat on, and they'll be in some dog fights by the tune of 10-6, which to them is a down year. Oh, how awful to have 10-6 be a disappointing year. If only the Lions could be on that level. All right, let's talk about your division winners. In the NFC, you've got the Green Bay Packers. Reluctantly, I say that. The Washington football team. You've got the Arizona Cardinals, and you've got the Carolina Panthers. In the AFC, your division winners are the New England Patriots, the Oakland Raiders, the Houston Texans, and the Cincinnati Bengals. The NFC Championship game will see the Arizona Cardinals defeating the Carolina Panthers. And in the AFC Championship, you will see the Cincinnati Bengals defeating the Pittsburgh wildcard team Steelers. So that sets up a Super Bowl matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, the Bengals finally winning some playoff games under Andy Dalton, under Marvin Lewis. They finally make it happen, but it's not enough. Your Super Bowl champions will be the Arizona Cardinals. Let's take a look and talk about why I've got them winning the whole thing. On offense, it's one of the most balanced offensive attacks in the league. You got the veteran in Carson Palmer, been there, done that, still very effective. Their receiving core, yeah, you think about Larry Fitzgerald, he's good. Michael Floyd, every year in the league has improved. I think he takes that next step. John Brown, same thing. All the speed and playmaking ability you want to have out of that X-Factor type of receiver. David Johnson, Chris Johnson, and Andre Ellington make a very formidable running back lineup, led, I can't talk right now. I'm excited. It's football season. Led by David Johnson, and the offensive line is solid as well. This is a very balanced attack. Now on defense, this is where it gets scary. They have one of the best defenses in the league. That secondary with Patrick Peterson, I think he's a little overrated, but whatever. He is a fine player. Tyrann Mathieu, the addition, you love that. Deone Buchanan, the steady progression and maturation of him being a full-time linebacker. And the addition of Chandler Jones, people aren't talking about that, but that's huge. That's huge. So already scary defense. You get one of the best pure speed pass rushing defensive ends in the league, who will also stand up a time or two, maybe play a little linebacker for them. Love me some Chandler Jones. The dividends of that trade will pay off. This team is going all the way. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's time for the Lions. The whole season, every game, 5 biggest stories, the individual team hardware, and we'll take a look at the game coming up this Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts. Jerry Mallory here for the Hindsight 20 podcast. Your ad can be placed right here. Send us an email, hindsight20podcast@gmail.com, and we'll make it happen. We're back on the Hindsight 20. It's the moment you've all been waiting for, the 2016 Lions season predicted. Now, I've had some success with this. Last year, not so much. I think I gave them 10 or 11 wins. Didn't quite work out that way. The year before, not only did I correctly predict 11-5, I guessed every single game right with the exception of 2. I predicted us to lose against the New York Jets and win against the Buffalo Bills. Aside from that, I got 11-5 right, and I predicted every game, win or loss, right. Will I recover from the fumble that was my predictions of last year? Restore my glory of being the predictor of all things Lions? Or will cornbread and Kool-Aid get in my way, as it sometimes does? Let's see. Starting off with the Indianapolis Colts, I've got them winning this game. Andrew Luck is back, but they've got a lot of injuries. The secondary all banged up. Top 2 or 3 guys out. Their top defensive linemen out. Lions need to feast on this opportunity. I think they will. The offense is much improved, in terms of a full system under Jim Bob Cooter. Another year for Amir Abdullah. Stafford getting full range to do what he wants, not being locked in on one guy, but spreading that ball around. It's a bad time to be hurt because Golden Tate, Marvin Jones, even Eric Ebron, and Anquan Bolden, those are viable receiving options, and it's going to pay dividends as the Lions will win their first game. Now, getting 2 wins to start off is really good. A great recipe is playing a less than average team at home. That's what the Lions are doing against the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans have improved. They're better, but they're still young. They have a long ways to go. Quite frankly, they are not good yet. It's the home opener. You've got the cheerleaders. Jerry Mallory may be in the house. That's all building up to a big W for the Detroit Lions going at 2-0. And so pump the brakes. All right. Somewhere the Miami Dolphins of the 80s are clinging their glasses because the Lions won't go 16-0. Lambeau Field, we had that victory last year, and that was great. And it's good to play them early in the year. You don't want to play them. The elements are pretty bad. But Green Bay still gets this victory. That puts us at 2-1. Chicago, I hate to say it, it's a road game, and we'll find ourselves on the losing end of this stick once again. Chicago is much improved. You add Danny Trevathan, you add, I can't even think of the rookie's name, the first-round guy, Leonard Floyd, Kevin White, basically in addition. They've made some moves. Pernell McPhee, I like what the defense is doing. They improve and they get the victory, putting us at 2-2. But don't worry, we'll come back with a nice little 3-game winning streak. It's 3 home games, and we find a way to win them all against the Philadelphia Eagles with the Carson Wentz and, the whole new thing they got going. We whipped them pretty good last year. It won't be as bad as the Thanksgiving game, but we still should be victorious. LA Rams, again, a young team on the rise. Question marks, whether it be Case Keenum or Jared Goff at quarterback. It's a decent team. They beat us pretty handily there in St. Louis in what was a very weird game because it was like a ghost town because that year was almost over, as well as football in St. Louis. It'll be a different story at Ford Field. Now, Washington is a good team. You already heard my predictions. I have them winning the NFC East once again. But a little home cooking there, we find our way into the victory column. So that's pretty good, man. You're starting off 5-2. You can hang your head high. 6-2 would be great. Not going to happen as the Houston Texans are victorious against us. This is a good team. It's on the road. I'm interested to see what Osweiler is going to bring to the table. Not sure just how good he is yet, but I do know how good Lamar Miller and Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt and DeAndre Hopkins are. That being said, they get the win. So the first half of the season, 5-3, pretty good, right? Not too shabby. We open up on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. Even though Teddy Bridgewater won't be there, this is still a very good defense. You still have Adrian Peterson and a very good team. Harrison Smith, Sheriff Floyd, just a lot of talent. Anthony Barr, we lose this game on the road. Coming back home, it's Jacksonville Jaguars. It should be an easy win, right? It's the upset. Jacksonville is much improved. They have a balanced attack on offense. I think their defense takes a big leap. They're going to make some noise in the AFC this year, fall just short of a wild card berth, and they do get the upset victory over the Detroit Lions, although we are at home. Next up is Minnesota. We're a little bit mad. Not only did they beat us a few weeks ago, we lost to a team we feel like we were better than. They come back here, and we have a strong showing, getting the victory against the Minnesota Vikings at home. Big road win would be nice at this point. You've got the New Orleans Saints, and it happens. I happen to believe the Saints are going to have a pretty down year. They've tried to make some strides. Sheldon Rankins, who they put a lot of stock in, already hurt. Their big first-round acquisition. Nick Fairley is Nick Fairley. That defense, every move they've made or tried to make has not worked. I think they're going to have a very down year, and the Lions will be the beneficiary of that, getting the victory versus those guys, them boys. Who that? It's going to be the Lions with a victory. Chicago at home. They're much improved, but we get the victory. Now, we're going down the stretch here. There's some interesting games, and that Minnesota game I mentioned is a Thanksgiving Day game, by the way. I didn't mention that. On the road against the New York Giants, another team that's looking to bounce back. It's going to be them and Washington going head-to-head for the NFC East. It's going to be a neck-and-neck race. I've got Washington just slightly edging them out, but the New York G-Man edge us out there in New York. You know, I'm looking at road games and want to do road trips. I was thinking about the Indianapolis Colts games. Things just didn't line up. So I've got my eye on a few other destinations. Dallas is looking intriguing. New Orleans is looking intriguing, as well as New York, although it will be later in New York. So that weather, if I'm going to travel, maybe I want to beat some of the bad weather, and that would mean they're 12-4 against the New Orleans Saints. Might be a nice little destination for Jerry Mallory to make his presence known on the road. That being said, the G-Men are much improved. We'll see what Bob McAdoo has in store. I have a big feeling that Rashad Jennings is going to have a breakout year, maybe because he's on my fantasy team, or maybe because I honestly believe in him. In any event, they'll be fighting tooth and nail with Washington for the NFC East, and this is a game that they have to get to keep pace, and they will get. Dallas, Tony Romo will be back, but I don't think they're going to, people think, all right, they went 12-4, then they went, 4-12 or something really bad, and Romo was hurt. He comes back, everything changes. Now, those last 8 games of the year, he's supposed to be back. I still think the deficiencies on defense and the issues that they had will still be there. If Romo played all of this year, maybe they'd be an 8-9 win team. But I don't think they would just jump right back to 12 games. Dak Prescott has looked good. With Romo being so hurt so often, we may be facing him. I love the matchup against a rookie quarterback and a team that's going to try to develop a decent pass rush in any event. Whether it's Romo, whether it's Dak Prescott, it's a Monday Night Football affair. The Lions are trying to chase the Green Bay Packers for the division. They're trying to chase, Seattle and whoever else for a wild card, and they find a way to get this win. The last game of the year, it's you win and you're in, you're out and you go home. Now, Green Bay has already sold up the division. They can't catch Arizona for home field throughout. They're going to sit Aaron Rodgers this last game because they just want to give him that rest. The Lions are like, cool, we'll take it. They're at 9-6. This win gets them into the wild card. They win the game. I've got the Lions going 10-6 for the year. You heard it here first. We've got a lot of predictions in the 6-win range, the 5-win range. But yeah, cornbread sometimes gets the best of me. Am I eating it? Am I drinking the Kool-Aid? I sometimes don't know. The lines of reality are often blurred with me. I don't care. I've got this team going 10-6, and I've got them making the wild card. Let's talk about a few things before we get out of here. First off, for the game against the Colts, I've got an official prediction. Detroit 31 and the Colts 23. The Colts will get in the red zone a few times, and they just won't be able to punch it in ultimately in the end zone enough, and the Lions will take care of business. Now, for the year, I've got the top 5 stories. These are things we'll be talking about quite often. At number 5, it's the troublesome defense. A combination of injuries. I don't really trust Levy staying healthy. I don't trust the secondary beyond Darius Slay. The pass rush looks good, but I do still worry about it. They look good, at the end, but that game 3 just not developing much of a pass rush. So the defense will be troublesome. We'll keep having to rely on that offense, and I think the offense will take a step up. We'll talk about that in a second. Number 4, it's going to be the in-season activity. It's going to be the tinkering of Bob Quinn. We're going to see more trades, more releases, more free agent acquisitions than ever before. He's going to be tinkering with this team, mad scientist style. Every week it seems like it's a new addition. The lineup, the starting lineups, guys you think are penciled in, it's going to be in every down, every play. No, it's not going to happen. Joe Dahl, for instance, I can see him taking over Laken Tomlinson's spot. It's going to be a lot of changes this year, tinkering with the lineup. Bob Quinn isn't playing games. Caldwell, it's a do-or-die year for him. It's like win or go home. They're going to do what they have to do to get it done. Amir Abdullah is going to have a breakout year. Over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns or so. We saw those glimpses last year, and it just didn't come to fruition. He was battling an injury. He had fumble issues. The talent's still there, and the breakout year potential that we thought would happen his rookie year, all the fantasy pundits loving him, it's going to happen this year. Devin Taylor, number 2, is going to lead the team in sacks. Now, it's not because Ziggy Ansah is going to have a bad year. Both of these guys will both be in double-digit sacks. But Taylor, who's going to get less attention, more free opportunities, will have the slight edge. Ziggy Ansah will have a dip. He'll have 11 sacks or so, and I think Devin Taylor will edge him just slightly at 11.5. And the number one story will be this passing offense. Jim Bob Cooter, an improved offensive line, another year for Eric Ebron, Marvin Jones, Anquan Bolden, Theo Reddick. This will be the number one passing offense in the league. You heard it here first. The number one story will be the passing attack being the most efficient, perhaps even the most yards in all the NFL, which will be our catalyst to the 10-6 season. Rookie of the year goes to Taylor Decker. Offensive player of the year goes to Matthew Stafford. Defensive player of the year, Darius Slay. The biggest surprise will be the receiving core as a whole. It's hard to pick one, but we'll go with Mr. Marvin Jones. And the biggest disappointment, unfortunately, will be DeAndre Levy. Can he stay healthy? I don't know. That's going to do it, guys. It's been an amazing show. Football is here. Colts, sorry to say this, but you're going down. It's been a pleasure. I'll be back in just a couple of days on Monday giving you the recap. Detroit Lions versus the Indianapolis Colts. I know now that you've heard the whole season predicted, you might not even want to watch it. But don't worry, it'll still be entertaining to watch. Some movies, some of the best movies, as you know, has been spoiled by thousands of people. Fight Club or whatever movie that you may enjoy has perhaps been spoiled for you before you watched it, but you still watched it and you still enjoyed it. And that's what's going to be the case for the NFL season. All right, guys, we're going to do another show, like I said, this upcoming Monday, so stay tuned for that. I can be found on Twitter at Jerry Mallory NFL. You can find me popping in and out on PriorDetroit.com every now and then. And as always, I'm right here on the Detroit Sports Podcast Network. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening. I'm so excited that I just can't hide it. Football is here, and we'll talk to you in just a couple of days right here on the Hindsight 20.